church for baptizing and for marriage and that kind of stuff, funeral.
And I used to get dragged down there and was bored when I was a kid, to be honest. I didn't really get it.
No, mainly just for Christmas really.
Maybe the older people, but the younger people not so much.
Hope.
No, not personally.
No, I don't really go much or have much to do with it really. So.
When you say the word church, I used to think of a building, I used to think of something very, very irrelevant to my life. And I used to think of something that restricted me in what I could and could not do. Something that I didn't really want to be at, something that took away my Sunday because my parents used to make me go. And as I got older and got more understanding of what it was about, my experience of church began to change when I began to realize just how much of a positive impact and influence it can have on my life, and also just how much of an influence that through it I can have on other people's lives. Regardless of who you are, what type of person you are, what background you come from, etc., etc., there's always someone who's had the same background as you, who's got the same experience as you. There's always someone on the same wavelength than you, someone going through the same things that you are. It just makes life that much easier to go through because you never have to go through life on your own. You never have to deal with things on your own. There's always someone else to put that arm around you.
I personally feel really comfortable and really happy and meet God most in worship. So you've got the worship and you've got the preach, but it's a response. So it's that time when we pray together and you get with your girlfriends, you pray about issues during the week, or you just meet with God. I think having that encounter with God really keeps you going throughout the week. At specific points in my life when I felt quite far from God, coming back into a church context, coming back into that community and back into that family is reminding me just how real God is as well, and it reminds me of God's love, and yeah, it reminds me how to live my life as well when we go out into the world and to be love and to be Christ to other people. I'm often reminded of a statement that Gandhi made, which was, I like you Christ, but I don't like you Christians. So to love the world is an important thing for the church to do. And also another favourite verse in the Bible is Micah 6 verse 8, which says to do justice, to love mercy and to walk humbly. And I think that's what the church needs to do. We need to fight for justice. We need to love mercy. We need to walk humbly with God and do the things that He did.
There's never a time that I don't feel like going to church, and that's a huge thing for me to say because I was so against church for years. My original sort of stereotype of church was that of a very negative one, because my thoughts were that it was very fake and that people pretended to care on a Sunday in the morning, but then Sunday afternoon they'd go off back to their world. And so I was very, very against it until I came here in London, and I just walked through the doors at my church and I was so welcomed, unbelievably, and it blew my mind. Even then I was really sceptical until Monday morning comes and I get a phone call. And this was genuine, somebody phoning me up saying, how are you, how was your day, lovely to meet you yesterday. And so for me it was just, I was cared about, and so now I just want to go out and just care for other people, and that's all I feel that we're called to do, is just to love each other. The biggest thing that church can fulfil in society is just looking at their own society, looking at what's in their own hands, their own opportunity, and just working with that, just blessing that. And you know, we've always been given all the tools that we need to carry out God's work. And so honestly, if it's just loving the person next door, if it's just caring for that one person, then that's all we're called to do, just to care individually for each person.
The one thing that I love about church is just coming into a building where you also come into the presence of God, and when we seek Him out, He'll meet with us. That experience of Him is real and it's available for anyone. I think God's in the business of reconciling the world to Himself, but also people with other people, and seeing that happening in front of your eyes is incredible. It's a different concept than just standing there and sort of saying hymns. When I was younger, I went to like a school where you had to do that, and it just bored me to death, and it didn't mean anything at all. But I think coming into church and worshipping in a way that engages you, engages your mind and your heart, and every part of you, your body, then it's quite an experience. It's not just an event. If you believe that, you're falling so far short of what Jesus envisaged his church to be. So I don't think you could really have a relationship with God without having a relationship with God's community. There's no such thing as a solo Christian. No, you can't just do it by yourself. And Jesus makes that really clear. You feel an amazing sense of acceptance yourself, but you also want to show the world that that is the message. The message isn't that God is interested in religious people. In fact, he's really not at all. The amazing thing about Christianity is it's not about how good you can be. It's not about trying to get up closer to God. What's unique about it, in fact, is that it's all about God making his way down to us in the form of Jesus, his son. And because of the fact that he died for us and he rose again, we can have a relationship with him, not because of what we've done, but because of what he's done.
Magnify.